Well, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you're celebrating, Kwanzaa, Eid, all of the above. This is our third go round, Three Old Friends, Music Never Ends, of holiday music. This one I've called tentatively, at least, Christmas All Over Again, which is the first song I put on. But before we get into that, I don't know. So, guys, this is the third time around. Anything you got out of it? Anything that's is it getting harder? Are we scraping the bottom of the the
I still,
options?
I still can't believe just how much Christmas music is out there. Like you could just literally say, let me pick an artist that I like. And yeah, they've all made a holiday record of some kind. Bob Dylan, or anybody you could probably name, some groups accepted. But most of the big names have done a holiday record just because they could.
Oh yeah, no, it's not scraped from the bottom of the barrel. It's like the tip of the iceberg. And this is our third go round, which is even crazier. It's like, oh, I could still use another 15 songs to put on here because, like Dave said, you can just find so many Christmas songs, Christmas albums that, we've done what, if it's what, 45 total songs. I mean, that's just, tip of the iceberg, I think.
Yeah, I tend to put on a lot of I don't know if obscure is the right word, but maybe a little more toward the novelty side on some of them. And yeah, there is just a bottomless pit of that's right, a bottomless well of that kind of stuff. So.
We will not be done until we get Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Then we're maybe starting to scrape a little bit.
I don't think I'd ever use that song.
No, and honestly, I applaud you guys have really kind of gone out in a lot of different directions. We all kind of do things that are maybe not our what we listen to every day. And we do this with other music too, but it's kind of nice to see everybody. Hopefully, I do it some, but
It's a nice collection, and I just didn't want to add, we kind of stay away from the traditional songs. So we haven't even, we don't do the traditional Christmas songs just yet. I'm sure at some point if we go to like Christmas 15, then we'll probably hear different versions of Silent Night or something like that. So
well, I'll just jump right in. So the first song was mine, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Christmas All Over Again, and it was from a collection, something like a very special Christmas volume two, and I think it had to do with raising money for AIDS research or something like that. Got a lot of good music on those collections, but I did not realize that it was also on the Home Alone soundtrack. Somebody pointed out to me the other day. I'm gonna have to watch that. I just read this biography about John Candy. I don't know if I even saw Home Alone, but I had no idea he was in it. So now I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm a fan. But anyway, this song, I like it. It's rocking, it's fun, it's upbeat, goofy as Tom Petty often was. So there's not much more to say about it. I just thought it was a good way to start off.
yeah, it's a good rocking way to start off the playlist. It's definitely different than, and it is about Christmas coming all over. That's kind of the message when you first hear this. we know it's Christmas is coming, the usual fare. I mean, it seems to be coming earlier and earlier. I'm not going to be one of those, oh, it comes earlier every year, but it does, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it. I figure if you're going to put up lights, I guess why not maximize the time? But and that's what the song's about, the sure signs of Christmas coming and getting ready to deal with certain things, family, friends, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah, I can't recall that I had this in my memory bank or whatever, but as soon as I heard it, I'm like, okay, I remember it now. And yeah, it's a good one. It's one of those ones that I like some of the lyrics of Christmas time is rocking time, put your body next to mine underneath the mistletoe, hey, everybody's singing, bells are ringing, it's Christmas time, all that kind of thing. And so yeah, it's a good way to start the playlist, and it's got a good up tempo kind of beat to it. It sounds a little Christmassy, but again, it's not always a traditional Christmas song. It's just these ones that people come up with around the holidays, and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers did good with this one. From there, I found this track called Colorado Christmas, and I think I had heard it before, but I wasn't sure. And so as I started searching, I came across that the original was written by Steve Goodman, and we've talked about Steve Goodman. He's made the baseball playlist. He made some other playlists that we've had. He died early at an early age of leukemia died of leukemia at an early age. But he was one of those singer songwriters that never got any attention or acclaim, but yet everyone in the industry knew who he was, and liked him and revered him, and took some of the songs and made them famous. It's just that he didn't become famous as a singer songwriter. Maybe posthumously after he passed away, he got more recognition and notoriety. But this one, obviously I'm a little bit sentimental to this song because it has the word Colorado in it. It's Colorado Christmas. But this is a stripped down version of the song. It was covered and redone by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. And that's where I think I remember hearing it the first time. But I love the lyrics of the song, how he's in LA and it doesn't feel like Christmas, and, the Hollywood and the glitz and all of that. It's 84 degrees. And then he's just thinking, I need to get back to Colorado where I can feel the spirit of Christmas. And I think that's the thing. I'll tell you, I played this song for my wife, and she loved it. This was her favorite song on the playlist. So anyway, for what it's worth, I thought it was a cool song when we put it on.
Yeah, we're just looking up what year he died. Oh, 1984. Because you ever since you played, I forget what you put on before the baseball list, but you put on something either by him or a cover of something he wrote, and I've really dug his music. The baseball, the was it a dying Cubs fan request, and this one, it's such a great song. I was thinking it's a shame I didn't know about this back when he was doing his thing, because I might have liked to go see him live or something, even though he wasn't a big whatever. But he died in '84, so I wasn't really listening to that kind of thing back then. So that was my loss. But yeah, it's a great song, and I like the he's in Los Angeles, but I think at the end he's like, I'm forget it, I'm going to I've had enough of this. I'm going to Colorado. It's a real sweet song.
Yeah, I like the message of the song as well, and I like the fact that because it is different, I'm not going to harp on it that of course it's different spending 30 years in Ohio and having cold, and now in San Antonio you're like, well, Merry Christmas. It got up to what? It was cold today, but the other day it was up to 75, almost 80 degrees. And you're like, oh yeah, this is December. And I know in Ohio right now it's like -7 wind chill. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that I'm here, but it does evoke that spirit of Christmas. It is a little I have to admit it is a little different when you're in a colder environment, how that kind of changes, your outlook on it. Uh, so yeah, I thought it went well with the other two songs as well. It's kind of sentimentality and what Christmas means to uh, the different individuals. So, and then from then I kind of went old timey, uh, Johnny Cash. Christmas times are coming. I think I was trying to go kind of in the same vein as the other two songs and just more old timey and something that we probably heard if we heard it at all was on, you're visiting some older relative who might have this album out or something like that. But yeah, probably wasn't on in our Christmas playlist at any moment, but I thought it was a kind of fun, cheery little song. And, Johnny Cash just has that voice that's perfect for this kind of these Christmas songs. So thought I'd throw it on there, have a little fun.
Yeah, I'd never heard this. As we've said in past ones, I like Johnny Cash um, a lot, and I think Mike does too. And so, but this one sounded like it was probably very early Johnny Cash, and he says Johnny Cash and the Carter family, right? So that's probably before he hooked up with uh didn't he hook up with June Carter, right? And
Mm-hmm.
after he got divorced and then he got remarried to her. So it was probably long before that. This was probably recorded when they were touring together, and it was Johnny Cash and then the June, June Carter and her family were doing so. But yeah, it's an old timey song, and it's fun and kind of gets you in that Christmas mood. But yeah, I liked it.
I'll just echo what you said, Jose. It wasn't anything that I don't know that I remember ever hearing it, but it totally takes me back to my childhood and those family Christmases, the kind of stuff that folks would listen to. Johnny and June Carter singing together, just like, it definitely has that kind of not Texas, country kind of, Christmas twangy thing to it. So it yeah, it took me back there for sure. I decided to I I guess I think of Texas when I heard that last one. So I my next song is Los Lobos, which they're a LA band. I've put a few songs on by them now, quite a few, I think. And they're an LA band by origin, but apparently they have some ties to Texas. And in fact, I wish I remembered the story, but there was some in their career, somebody, some promoter in Texas. It might have been Clifford Antone, but somebody, from Antone's uh, club, somebody helped them along and kind of put them over the hump, and it was somebody in Texas. So I'm sure they played here a lot. And anyway, it's Christmas time in Texas with accordions and, you know, uh, mainly English, a little bit of Spanish, and I think the key line in there is sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it snows, which pretty much sums up uh, Christmas or the winter here, but Christmas in particular. And you just said this the other day about just a little bit ago about the temperature change. Yeah, it's in the it's good. It get down to 31 tonight, which for here that's pretty cold. But I saw mid to late week, we're going to hit 80. So there you go.
Nah, it's a fun song and it's great. Obviously, it's a perfect song. And the thing that I find interesting is that these, Colorado Christmas and these other songs talk about the winter time, but you can have as much as it's not the same. Can have fun in Texas, as we find out in the next couple of three songs about having Christmas in Texas. So, and the Los Lobos is just a natural fit, and like you said, sometimes it snows. Hardly ever snowed when I was growing up. I think the next song, George Strait, kind of sets it straight. Like it don't snow here in San Antonio, very rarely. So only once in the 25 years that I was when I lived here did it snow. So, but yeah, it's a great fun song, get you in the mood. And like I said, how could it not be a hit in San Antonio for sure?
Well, I think we started something here with, we started doing Colorado Christmas, and then we had the Johnny Cash thing, kind of get you kind of country, and then Mike went with the Christmas time in Texas, and yeah, I liked it. I didn't know the song, and but I do love the vibe of that, the accordion and that whole kind of thing. It reminds you of Texas. It sounds like Texas. It's San Antonio, it's that Austin, Texas, San Antonio kind of sound that we're familiar with. And what better than to put it into a Christmas type song as well. Um, and then from there, I guess I felt like I had a couple of selections that I thought about, and I not that I wanted to go back to back Texas on it, or try to compare my Texas song to Mike's Texas song or anything, but I did have the George Strait "When It's Christmas Time in Texas" on my short list of songs to play. So it's we don't talk about these lists and what we have before we sit down and actually put them together. Um, so it's interesting sometimes that we get in a little thing and we go, yeah, there's three or four or five songs in a row that kind of had that same feeling and flair to it or theme to it, and we have a tendency to do pretty good that way without coordinating it beforehand. It just comes up fairly spontaneous. So the George Strait song, I actually had two or three George country Christmas George Strait songs that I wanted to play, or that I had on my list, and this is one. So I figured, well, with Texas in the title, might as well go with "When It's Christmas Time in Texas," George Strait. And so probably one, it's probably a pretty popular song. Um, as I've heard it over the years and everything. But I love George Strait. He's the king of country for a reason, and he's probably my favorite country artist of all time. It just is. Um, Everything he sings is awesome. So I thought I might as well put that one on. And like you said, what's it say in the words about snow in San Antonio, right? But it's Christmas time in Texas to me. There won't be snow in San Antonio. That's what it is. But anyway, that's where we're at.
Did San Antonio get any of that ice storm that hit here a few years ago? It wasn't on Christmas, but
Yeah, a few years ago, yeah.
yeah. But
So correct me. I mean, in all the years growing up there, and I moved away when I was about 24. But growing up, I could say maybe two times.
It was about two times.
Yeah, once every about 7 years or so, we got. I remember I was at school one year, and we got about a half inch to an inch or whatever,
It
and
was probably wasn't even that much, but
everyone
yeah,
went into the
yeah,
courtyard there, and we were playing with snow, and it was like, yeah.
yeah. My
you know,
buddy
and
with
just
me.
keep going on this tangent a second. We when I lived in Oklahoma as a kid, we got a lot more snow and ice, but because everybody was so used to it, you never got a snow day. But down in Texas, people didn't know what to do, so kids benefited from that. Now working remotely, I having that ability, I never get a snow day at work anymore. But
Yeah,
anyway,
no, we had the one in the middle. It was a middle school or high school that we got sent home, Dave. And then once in college, it was in '86. Dallas got hit a lot harder than but San Antonio got hit. But I remember that as well because I was going to Richland College, and the guy I was going with, he got a flat tire, so I had to change a tire in the snow in Texas, which was like that you never would, but it happened to snow. But those are the only two times that I remember that it snowed in San Antonio and or Texas when I was there. I think when I left, they got hit a couple more times, but yeah, it's definitely different.
well, and yeah, and then back to George Strait. I've never really known much about his music. There's certain was it? Did he do that forever and ever? Amen. And a couple other songs that I heard his stuff all the time. I think Honky Tonk Moon might have been one of his. Anyway, I don't know. But
So
yeah,
he's got an album that's titled 50 number one hits. 50. He
uh,
compiled a list of 50 number one hits.
Yeah,
That's insane.
it is, and it says a lot about how I listen to music that I probably know a couple of them. I less so now, but I would really be hyper focused on whatever I was listening to, and that would be perfect. However, I like this one. It has that. I particularly like the Texas swing. The elements to it, the fiddle, and that sort of thing. I'm a big Bob Wills fan, and that whole sound to it's great. And I don't know what else to add about the music. It's pretty much spot on about Texas, particularly I guess I don't know, the idealized version, in these songs, like how we see Christmas, when we think back, but not necessarily thinking about changing a tire in Dallas, Texas during a snowstorm. But
I remember that. Yeah, it's well, we should know this song very well, Mike, because well, I don't know if you do, but it's on definitely on YouTube. It's in a commercial. The HEB commercial. Shout out to HEB.
okay,
Okay,
yeah, then
so
I
if you're
have heard
watching
it.
TV or on YouTube or on the internet, this song comes on. I'm like, where have I heard this? Why am I hearing? I'm not, and I'm like, oh, that's right, it's on our playlist. Tells you how popular it is. So we get our fill of George Strait, and of course, how could they not use this song, right? I mean, it's all about Texas, and yeah. So I'll say, yeah, we get to. Dave doesn't get to hear it as much as we do, but hear quite a bit. So, but I think it again encapsulates what's good about Texas during the Christmas time. It's just a whole different version of it. With my pick, I went with Senor, just kind of going in the same vein as you guys, which, like Dave says, is sometimes it is a good thing, sometimes it works really well, and I think we'll find out on this other one towards a lot of maybe it doesn't work so well on some of the songs. But getting ahead of myself. But Senor Santa, just one of those again. I'm getting nostalgic or something because just kind of this old timey one of those old timey Christmas songs that again you would hear in the 40s or the 30s, what it brings you back to. And I thought it fit in well because it had elements of both Los Lobos, the Hispanic slant as well as the American version of it. So thought I'd just throw it in there, see if it worked. I thought it worked pretty well.
I thought it was a kind of a fun song as well, but I've got to, as I listen to it like several times, I have to ask some questions. So Jim Reeves, not Hispanic, right? Or whatever, right? So he's probably an old timey kind of guy, right? But then he has this kind of tries to do this kind of accent in the song and throws in, I only want a peso and to get my senorita something for Christmas, and it just seems kind of funny that the style of what he's singing and how he's singing about, but. Again, I think that's what's the novelty of it, what makes it kind of funny. But as I listened to it a few times, I'm like, Jim Reeves, he's just like, totally not Hispanic, but he's singing about Senior Santa Claus. And so anyway, I thought it was fun. I liked it. It was different.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. He has some interesting view. He doesn't sound like he's interacted with very many Spanish speaking people.
Oh, I think yeah.
Well, I don't know his point of reference. I don't know. Somebody should have gotten with him and said, "Hey, maybe you know, oh, it's a fun song," and I hope he gets that peso for his Lolita. Was that her name?
Lolita, yeah.
So which
He
which
says,
is a name you wouldn't know. Go
he
ahead.
says, if I know get Lolita something, she feels sad, I think. I mean, it's not even the way he's talking too. His English isn't even that good.
Yeah, that one actually, that part was a little like, man, are you kind of judging the education of this person you're
Oh no, it
interviewing?
just seemed weird. It just
I'm glad you two guys are championing these causes. You guys go for it. I'm just gonna leave out of this.
Oh, whatever. I'm having fun. It cracked me up every time I heard it.
That is pretty funny. It's, and I bet I didn't even look at the history, but I'm sure he got it from somebody else. Someone wrote it.
like when was it written and when was it performed?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up.
I saw early, he died in a plane crash in the early 60s, I think. Let's see.
But yeah, it's a fun song.
Well, I can't get it to work here. Anyway, whatever.
Well,
Yeah. So yeah. So I went from that kind of a different direction. Louis Armstrong, Cool Yule, and I was kind of still. I was thinking he names all these other, and that song's like, oh, I can't even think. Like New York. It's not. This is what it is like New York City and the whatever strip, and across the all the places where I guess Santa Claus is coming. But it's a fun little kind of sort of jazzy thing. I've always liked Louis Armstrong. When I was a kid, I thought he was just that kind of old, kind of a little creepy guy, looking guy who was like in some movies, he'd sing like "Hello Dolly" or whatever.
Wow.
But he was actually, a really good and one of the early guys of jazz, and he also apparently was quite the ladies' man. But that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, so I thought I'd have a little fun with it.
Yeah, well, from Senor Santa Claus to Cool Yule, you really can't beat the old nostalgia feel. And no, it's great. Like you said, growing up, we only got the kind of the caricature of Louis Armstrong. We just got the back end. We didn't know. Yeah, you're a kid. You don't know anything about who Louis until you grow up. You're like, oh my God, this guy. Always like you said, always saw him as in Hello Dolly, that movie, which was on once a year, and like, oh, there's Louis Armstrong. Or Wonderful Life, right?
Yeah.
Or
All right. What a wonderful world.
Wonderful World. You knew him from that. But and the occasional he'd show up on a athletic event to play the Star Spangled Banner. But yeah, but and this is, mind you, this is nice. Again, a good variety of songs about Christmas. And like I said, I don't think we'd ever really run out of Christmas songs. Even by the time we got to all the Christmas songs, there'd have been 1,000 more written, by all the newer groups because, obviously it's a cash cow and they just keep coming out. So
well, yeah, after, the Jim Reeves, I looked it up. It was like 1963 was when that was done. And then obviously Louis Armstrong was before our time as well. And probably performed, with some of I don't know when this one was done, but probably in the 60s or something too. Yeah, it's always cool to hear that old jazz and stuff like that. And he's just a legend. So when you hear the name and then you hear a song by him, you're like, you have to stop and listen a little closer because of his greatness. And so at that point, we'd played a couple of old timey songs, and I thought there are probably some other ones. We have the whole, I don't know, with Bing Crosby, White Christmas, and the Pat Boones, and all of those kind of old timey Christmas songs. But there's one that I've had in my own playlist for many many years, and I don't know when I first heard it or whatnot, but it's the Bing Crosby and the David Bowie um, duet that they put together, which is called "Peace on Earth, Little Drummer Boy." And I've just always loved this song. The having whoever had the idea to do this, to put them together and to have them to do this is brilliant, because you get that old time voice with Bing Crosby, you get David Bowie's voice, and they put it together. And just a message of the song and how it weaves together, where you hear the little drummer boy in the background, but that's really that peace on earth, and you hear that part, and it builds and builds and grows. I think there's an orchestra that plays with it too. I don't remember the name of the orchestra, but anyway, I thought it would go this, and I was looking for an opportunity where to put this song, and I'm kind of thinking, okay, it either needs to go at the end, kind of like a Silent Night at the end of the, kind of thing, or it has to go with some other old timey songs that maybe put on. So when you both put those two on, I went, all right, here's my opportunity to slip this one in. Again, every Christmas when it comes on or I hear it on the radio, I listen to it. I love to sing to it, and it's just a beautiful song.
Is it my? No, I think it's you, Jose, right?
oh, is it me? My bad. Not paying attention.
Wait, let's see.
Yeah, it's
No, it
you.
is me.
I knew
All
I was
right.
paying attention. I'm not that spaced out.
Yeah, I'm not paying attention apparently. All right. Yeah. So, yeah, this song, I saw a video for it before I think I ever heard it on, just on its own as a song. And it's, I think from a Bing Crosby Christmas special. I remember when I was a kid, he did a lot of those. And the scene of the kind of the setup of it is he's puttering around his house and there's a knock on the doorbell or something, and he opens it, and David Bowie's outside. And he's like, "Hey neighbor, it's kind of cold out here. Mind if I come in?" And they're having a so I always thought it's kind of funny that they in the pretend world at least they lived in the same neighborhood, and Bowie could just pop on over. But it's a classic. I love this song. I don't know if you guys have ever heard Will Ferrell and that guy. He was in. He's been in several movies with him. I'm gonna blank out now. He was in. Uh, I'm gonna completely blank out. They do Step Brothers.
John
Yeah,
C. Riley.
I don't know the
Just
guy's name, but
John C. Riley.
John
Don
C.
C.
Riley. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's
It's
him.
not. It's not that he's not memorable. It's me. That's all. It's gonna happen again. But they recreated
I saw that.
that bit. It is so funny. Riley is Bing Crosby and so anyway, yeah, so
Did a
it's
good
a
job, and they
classic.
did a really good job at it too. I
Yeah.
remember that it wasn't just
Hmm.
funny; it was they both sang really well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So,
I'm like you guys. It had you been on a Bing Crosby session, they probably played every year. And then what happened is when MTV came along, they would play like, here's our Christmas because they didn't have many videos anyway. So they're like, oh, here's a Christmas one with, of course, David Bowie. He's, of course, you have Bing Crosby, which is, of course, it's obviously pretty cool when you think about them bridging the gap with these two guys coming together. Like, oh, paying homage really to Bing Crosby. They all laid the foundation. And to have David Bowie of all people you always thought was like, isn't he that wacky star man? But no, he's singing with David. He's singing with Bing Crosby. So yeah, it's a classic song and need to be placed on there. Uh, so I kind of in the same vein of the old classics. I kind of went with the Beach Boys. I don't know, did we have another Beach Boy Christmas song? I thought we did, but I don't think we did.
I don't
I
think
know
so.
they have an album, so but I went with Little Saint Nick, and it's exactly what you expect. It's like checks all the boxes for the Beach Boy songs, the harmonies, little bass, little this, it's a Beach Boys, you know, how can we change Surfer Girl into Little Saint Nick, basically? And so but I thought it was kind of a fun song. It was fun to listen to the Beach Boys try to, get their money's worth out of Christmas. So I
Well,
found it.
I had this song on my short playlist of songs I wanted to maybe put on this year. And not to be spoiler alert, but spoiler alert, the next song as well, Run, Run, Rudolph by Chuck Berry. Those two songs I had on my list, I'm like, yeah, if I get an opportunity, I'm going to put those two songs on. And then you guys played both of them right back to back. So it was brilliant. Again, it gets to the issues of like sometimes like, wow, you're reading my mind, or you just just you like similar music and everything like that. And they went real well together. The Beach Boys, kind of, even though there's the surfer kind of thing, the Little Saint Nick is a cool, fun song. So yeah, I was glad that you both put those two songs on, but um, it was good to get Beach Boys on a Christmas playlist.
yeah, these I've definitely heard over the years. If you listen to Christmas music on the radio, particularly on a rock station, these are going to get a pretty heavy rotation. And yeah, Little Saint Nick, they had a ton of car songs, the Beach Boys. Kind of the earlier part that I don't know, I'm all right with that stuff. I like the later stuff more, but it's definitely it's a car song basically, his sleigh, and then Run Run Rudolph, kind of a similar thing, it's they definitely the Beach Boys were uh, they did songs that borrowed heavily or outright basically stole from um, Chuck Berry, who did Run Run Rudolph. I'm sure they had to pay him some money for that, but was it Surfing USA? I think might have been one. I don't remember, but there were a couple of those early songs that were straight out Chuck. And then of course the Beatles took that too with back in the USSR. But anyway, that's off on a tangent. There's nothing more to say about those. I've always liked them. They've been on my list. I think I made a list that I keep going back to 3 years ago and pulling things out of and adding to it. And both of those songs were on there. I think who's who's next?
Jose.
Oh, that you finishing Run Rudolph?
Yeah, that was it. That
Yeah.
was both. That was both. Nothing else. I kind of ran them together.
My bad. I was again, I am spaced out. I must be. But yeah, it's a classic, and I think like I said, even the first two of these playlists that we don't go back to the classics. But of course, now we kind of start falling back on some. And Run Rudolph Run was at least, if you were gonna have to listen to Christmas songs, nonstop. You always had that one person who's like, oh look, let's listen to Christmas songs for you're on a road trip for like an hour, and they want to listen. At least you get a little brief respite with Run Rudolph Run in between all of them, and it was a rock and roll song, and of course, I think with the Beatles covered it, a lot of people stole from that song. A lot of people stole from Chuck Berry. So yeah, thought it was thought it was a pretty good song.
Well, it's again, classic Chuck Berry, Run Rudolph Run kind of thing, and then you kind of think, well, we really haven't been playing some of these more of the classic songs. I mean, we could like, I mean, and again, this is about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And but we haven't played Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. We haven't played like some of this we've mentioned on Santa and stuff, Santa, but we haven't done like Santa Claus is coming to town. We haven't done like Jingle Bells, or Jingle Bell Rock, or these ones that you hear all over there, just traditional classic Christmas songs. We're kind of on the fringes of those songs and ones we hear a lot, but not necessarily the classic, so to speak. So maybe one of these years we'll have to put together one that's just no kidding, the classic Christmas songs, and then maybe even some of the spiritual Christmas songs as well that are out there. But no, this is a great one, and as like I said before, I wanted it to be on the list, and you guys put these two on there, so it was great. From there, I was trying to think of another like classic, because you had Beach Boys and you had Chuck Berry, and I was going to go with something like that. Give me another one of those classic ones, and I couldn't come up with one on the spot. So I thought of what other songs that are like Christmas songs, and I came up with this one called "Deck the Halls" by a group called She Daisy. Don't know nothing about She Daisy or anything about it other than there's three female singers in it, and I don't know where and when or how I came across this song or had it, but for many years I've had it in my playlists and have played it. And so it kind of starts out kind of slow, and then it picks up the beat and gets into it, and I just like the harmonies and the upbeat nature of the song that they put together with Deck the Halls. And anyway, hope you liked it.
I didn't know what to think when I heard that name, but actually I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. It's and no insult intended to you. I just like She Daisy. What is that? But I think the Three Sisters, which I may be wrong, but I think they are, which reminds me of Haim, the band Haim that I put on a few playlists ago. And I think that I like how that worked. And I think these guys they harmonized really well together. And also it's basically, yeah, it's Deck the Halls. They're not going off on any kind of, little humorous asides or, personal notes. It's those lyrics, but they changed the arrangement. And I really like what they did with that. I couldn't tell you what they did exactly, but it's I've heard Deck the Halls so much. it's almost like not a song anymore. It's just like a thing I've heard so many. It's the same with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's like I've heard them so much, and this kind of added a little, twist to it, which I thought was nice.
Yeah. I was like Shadazy, and every time it comes up, I'm like, what is this song? It's Deck the Halls, and it's like the three whitest of white girls singing Shadazy singing. And again, it's a Christmas song, and it's one of the I like to categorize it as one of those Dave finds, of course, because of course he finds the three women singing harmony and singing the song. And Shadazy's it. And no, it's a nice Christmas song. Uh I don't know how it fits in with the next one. I kind of go off the rails. I want to have a little fun, We had the older version. I just thought have a little fun with it. So I want an alien for Christmas by Fountains of Wayne. Just thought I just wanted to put in something completely different, especially after Deck the Halls, just kind of mix it up a little. Uh, it's just a nonsensical song about someone who wants a little Martian for for Christmas from Santa Claus. Who never wanted that? So just thought I was having some fun with. Yeah, there's always fun Christmas songs. I mean, we could do a whole playlist of nothing but parody Christmas songs. So
It definitely was different. It definitely broke the, changed the rhythm of the playlist a little bit. I'm wondering if it really should have been on our Space Area 51 playlist, right? Because we're an alien kind
I
of
forgot about that one. Yeah.
forgot about that. But yeah, you've introduced us with a couple of songs by Fountains of Wayne. Actually, on the Cold one, I think it was, right, where we had that one song. I love that one. I can't remember the name of it, but that was a great tune. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was different, and it again changed the trajectory a little bit of the playlist at that point. But that's okay. That's what we do, right?
Yeah, I don't know what else I can say about I want an alien for Christmas. 17 eyes, little green guy. I'll take him outside, take him for a walk. But when I saw the when I heard and saw the name of this, I was like, wait a minute, because I knew we had Fountains of Wayne. I was like, did they do that Hey Mom, I think it's Blink 182, I finally figured out. But it's like I've got an alien in the bathroom, and I was
Yeah,
like, is that the same
there's
guys? But it wasn't. So
yeah.
yeah, I did. But that was the first thing I had to look up. Was like, but yeah, what else can you say about it? There's Alien for Christmas.
Stacy's mom. That's the one they do.
What is it?
Stacy's
Yeah,
mom.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right. Um, did we ever talk about where they got their name from? What that is? Maybe if we did, I apologize. I don't know. Fountains of Wayne. What does that mean? I don't know. Not trying to put you. I'll look it up sometime. Anyway, whatever. So it was my turn next, and I went. There's a band. I don't know if a lot of people even know about these guys, except for a couple that were on the radio. The band was called the Smithereens. Song is "Waking Up." Was it "Waking Up for Christmas Morning"? But it's about like when you're a little kid waking up for actually the trouble sleeping the night before, and the next morning, and those experiences a lot of us had. But I always liked this band. They had quite a few hits. There's songs on the radio, minor hits, I guess. The lead singer died a few years ago. I never got a chance to see him, but I've known this one for a while. Nothing really else I can add. I like these guys.
Excuse me for a second. I'm about to sneeze. uh, I thought you kind of had my back because it kind of went well with I want aliens. Same kind of rhythm. I'm like, well, at least I'm not the only one who kind of went off the rails there with this kind of. But actually it's a really nice song and a really good sounding song. So from the Smithereens, of all of you would think of a song like, oh, Christmas Morning by the Smithereens. You would expect with the song that they sang. So I thought it was a nice little song that kind of followed mine and kind of helped me out a little because soon we're about to enter different territory right now. But yeah, I thought it was enjoyable enough, and at least you had my back.
Glad to help.
It, that's exactly it. It went well with the previous song, and we had a couple of songs in a row like that. And then I guess that sometimes we do that, and then I feel like I dropped the ball. I'm like, okay, I could let me come up with another like whatever mid '80s '90s cool band that we knew but we didn't know, kind of thing. But I didn't have one of those. I didn't know the at all. So at that point, I was just like, okay, I got one or two more songs to put on the list, depending on how many we do. And this is another one where I've just from the very first time we put the Christmas list together, I had on my list. Chose not to play it. Second time we did the Christmas list, I had it on my list. It didn't make the list. I don't know why. But finally, I said, at some point I got to put it on. Let's go with Happy Xmas. The war is over by John Lennon and Yoko Ono. We've heard it a bajillion times, right? It's one of those songs, but felt like I needed to put it on there just so that every now and then when we're listening to go back and we listen to these, we'll have a few familiar songs that come up and we just go, yeah, I know that one. I love that one. And so I thought it's time to make it to a playlist.
It's also been on my playlist this whole time, and it crosses my mind. I think this is one of those songs that you hear a lot over the holidays, but that I still really like. I still find it moving, and I think that's in part, because of what happened to John Lennon. But the whole call for peace. They used to put up, Yoko would put up billboards like "War is over" and things that it touches on in the song. And it's a beautiful, sweet song, and I'm sorry, a little spoiler alert. We started a Beatles trend with this one, but
Yeah, well, I think we come to find out that this is probably the best Beatles Christmas song that actually works because after this, we do all me guilty as charged, go on this little downward spiral of, hey, let's use the Beatles. So I thought, oh yeah, I'll use Wonderful Christmas Time by Paul McCartney. And you come to find out that's like you look on different Reddit boards and different, they're like, that's the worst Christmas song ever by him. You're like, what? But it's
I
again,
like it.
right. Again, it's like the Beach Boy song. It's a Paul McCartney song. A little kind of 80ish, trendy, kind of poppy, but it's a Paul McCartney song. And so it's what you expect from it. I don't know if people were it's hard to beat Happy Xmas. It's just there's just hardly no way you can kind of beat that song. But so they tried their different versions, and of course we got Paul McCartney one, and again it's a Paul McCartney song.
It is that, you get that whatever it is, that synthesizer or whatever they put on
Right.
that plays in it, and it sticks in your memory. And I'll tell you, I had it on my short list also for the last couple playlists, and so I kept thinking, yeah, one or the other, which one do I want to do, kind of thing. And then I don't know why we do this, but we go, oh, let's do the Beatles thing. So then, after you follow with that, Mike's going like, oh, okay, I got to, I don't want to spoil all of it, but I got to keep going. We maybe should create a rule that says if anyone plays a former Beatle, you cannot follow it immediately one of the other dead Beatles or live Beatle or whatever. And as a
Oh my God, that should be a rule. That really should be.
I don't know, but in
Yeah,
this case,
it's an
but in this
easy
case, it
out
was
for
cool
us.
because it was like, oh, did they all do Christmas songs? I don't know. I knew that there was this Happy Christmas thing, but I had no idea. And spoiler alert on the next two songs, I had no idea that either one of those other Beatles did anything with Christmas other than these two songs.
Yeah,
So it opened my eyes, like went, oh, okay, well. So again, after the John Lennon and then the Paul McCartney. I was good. I had my Beatles dose at that point, but over to you, Mike. Then for the follow up.
yeah. So this song, it is much maligned. I don't think it's a bad song, but Paul McCartney is great as a songwriter. I mean, he has the pop hit thing down, and has for many years. Not everything he touches is gold. It's a good, it's a fine song. And I do like a little bit of the history of this song. It came, I think, the same recording sessions we did the record McCartney 2. For people who may not know about McCartney's solo stuff, when he first left the Beatles, when they broke up, he did a record, and it was just him. Everything on there was him. I think maybe Linda sang a little background, but nothing else. He did drums and everything. Go forward to 1980, and he's like, I'll do that again. And it's all going to be synthesizers and kind of odd lyrics. I read somewhere where he said it was going to be, he was inspired by the quirkiness of the Talking Heads and David Byrne. And I bought this record, McCartney 2, and I didn't like it. I'm like, this is not what I was expecting. It had a single, had a couple singles they put out. One of them, the single version, was actually a live concert recording it coming up. The song Coming Up, which is, it's not a bad song.
Yeah, I like that
The
song.
the album version is quite a different thing. It's like, oh, okay. But anyway, he recorded this at the same time, and so it's all him except a little Linda when he talks about the choir of children singing their song or whatever. Um, all right, that's a lot of talking about that song. But so I went on to George Harrison.
Yeah.
George Harrison did not do a Christmas song, as far as I know. Now the Beatles, they put out albums or their singles to their fans each year, like extended play. They would have some songs on it, but they were really not really songs. So this is the only thing that George Harrison did close to a holiday song, and it's New Year's. It's called Ding Dong Ding Dong, and I've always liked it. All right, I'll stand by my choice, but I get it. It uses that whatever grandfather clock, da da na 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 na, but he adds more to it, and it is, he puts a little bit of his philosophy in there about, move on, don't live in today, don't be looking at tomorrow, don't be going back, but make today the best you can be, the best you can be today. I'm maybe putting too much into that, but yeah, I thought I'd just throw it in there. So George Harrison.
Right, we were getting all those Beatles guys in there, which again, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Again, I'd never heard of this song before. I didn't know George Harrison was writing. Again, you would think he'd be the least, person to write about Christmas and stuff like that. But hey, it's not really, like you said, about the new year and looking forward. So it fit right in there, so to speak. And so yeah, we were three-fourths of the way there, but then Dave just, he could have broke the trend, but Dave.
Well, I mean, like I said, I hadn't heard this from George Harrison. I liked it. I liked the song, and it was kind of cool. Yeah, he's not singing about Hare Krishna or anything like that, or anything Eastern. But the message is great. I like the song, and at that point, it was like, do you really leave out the last Beatle? And I did not know, so I just went quickly. I went Ringo Starr, Christmas songs. Boom, I got an album. He's put out a whole album of songs. So I started listening to him. There's probably two or three pretty cool songs on the album that he put out. But then I hit on this one, and it was like Little Drummer Boy. And I'm like, okay, I got to listen to this one. So I started listening to it, and it was a little different. You got that parumpa pum pum kind of thing in it, but he made it more modern and more of a little bit of a upbeat rock kind of a song. And then towards the end, he gets this little bit of his own little solo thing in there, at the end. And I thought it was pretty cool. And so I thought, well, if you're going to pick a Christmas song by the drummer of the Beatles, why not pick Little Drummer Boy, right? Because that's kind of what he was. He was the little drummer boy for the Beatles. Anyway, but I liked it. I thought it was a pretty cool song. Now, we did do Peace on Earth, Little Drummer Boy already. So as Mike said, did we kind of break the rule there a little bit? I said, yeah, probably. But the other songs that he had didn't shine enough for me. So I went with this one.
It was as good a choice as any by Ringo. I thought it was, yeah, being the drummer, that totally made sense. And I do like that he, if you hear like Bing Crosby's, well, or some other version, it's just the barumpa pum pum, and it's a pretty the song, the original whatever. It's kind of it's a really somber song. It's not intended to be like a dark thing, but it does really have that, and he turns that around on here. It does take it upbeat, and yeah, it's great that he expands his drumming a little bit on there.
Yeah, I don't know what's scary that this was the best song on the Christmas album or what, but if this was it, more power to them. Again, like you said, not all the things that the Beatles touch is, gonna go immediately straight to number one. They had their duds, but this is a good song and it's a good take on it. And let's face it, it completes the whole Beatles thing. And I will say a little shout out. I did watch the anthology, which is kind of the same, and reinforces a lot of the stuff that you already know. But yeah, Little Drummer Boy, fits right in there. Fits in with our Beatles, and I'm sure the next playlist will have no Beatles Christmas holiday Beatles song, or maybe another four if we can, then really scrape the bottom of the barrel of Beatles. We've never done the beat. I know the Beatles do a Christmas album, right? And they have one as well. So,
Yeah, I've looked. It was never like officially released. I used to have a picture disc that collected all. It was each of them was probably 10, 15 minutes long, and they do little comedy skits and
right.
messages to the fans and stuff. But they've never been officially put out, and I don't think they're on. They're definitely not on Apple Music or on Spotify. Ringo does. I don't know if it's this album. There's a song. Christmas Time is Here Again, which is on one of those, and it's not a complete song, but that didn't stop Ringo. He just put it out as you basically sings that line over and over again, and it's a nice little throwback. But yeah, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, that's okay. That's exactly what yeah, we just haven't used one of those. So to kind of encapsulate it all, I guess I went a little cynical, I guess, when you really listen to the song. But and I know people probably hammer me, but I went with Sabrina Carpenter's "Is It New Year's Yet?" And it's just a song about someone who's finally fed up with all the Christmassy stuff, and of course, more so in this song is a relationship where it's like I don't want to enjoy Christmas, just get the New Year's here, just get it all done. And I was more of a feel of you know like I said again, Christmas starts so early now that by middle of right now you're just like, man, this has been going on for quite a while. And it never really was like that, but it is now. We should all get used to it. Halloween goes right into Christmas now. There's no kind of real Thanksgiving. It's just the holiday season. So, but I thought this was a good song that encapsulates that not everyone is, all gung ho for Christmas at times. And, there's people out there that, aren't enjoying it as much. So,
Well, it's kind of a sad song too. It talks about how, I guess she had probably broke up with somebody and she misses him. And so when she gets to this time of year, it just makes her sad and she just wants to move on and skip ahead to the new year. She says, I'm getting bored, so can we skip ahead? I just want to forget that I'm at home with nobody to hold, so it's kind of sad that way, but she's, yeah, fed up with it, tired, wants to move on. It's kind of an interesting twist on the holidays. It's the 25th, fifth. I wish it was the first. Couples all around me. Damn, it hurts. So there's something underneath there going on that makes her not want to enjoy Christmas and wants to move on to New Year's and turn that page. But it's a good way to end the playlist with that. With something, with New Year's and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not a bad song.
oh, and she's not the fifth Beatle. Just throwing that out there. Just no.
Uh, could have done could have done Billy Preston right there.
I wonder if he did a Christmas song. I
Oh,
will.
sure.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up. Yeah, it's a good song. And you're right. It is. It's about she's not getting things out of the season because she's going through this hard time. But at the same time, it did make me think of what you were saying, Jose. Which I thought was a interesting way to wrap it all up. Because a lot of you do hear like you said, Thanksgiving. You go into HEB. That's always kind of my uh, uh, barometer for what holidays are coming, whatever, because they start changing that stuff out. You know, before Thanksgiving. And I tell you now, they've already got they don't have it out, but I'm sure in the back room they already have Valentine's stuff waiting, and it'll be out right after Christmas. So, but that does drive me, and I gripe about it, but whatever. It is what it is. Whatever. You doesn't have to spoil the mood. But yeah, so you kind of referenced this, I guess, a little bit, Dave. Well, this is more of like a secular playlist, pretty much across the board. The Little Drummer Boy, a little bit on that, but we have in the past had playlists we would touch on some of the other stuff, the more spiritual elements, and I don't think that was intentional by anybody this time. I thought it was really interesting that we did this, and we will mix them in again. But I thought this one really worked. You guys have any other thoughts about that? How, if it worked, if whatever?
Yeah, I thought overall, I thought it was a good variety. I don't know why. I think it veered off a little sometimes. Off the beaten path a little. Even though you would think that all of the Christmas songs would go together, and now Apple has it. When they upgrade your phone, it's more prominent now. The fade in to another song. It almost takes like 3 to 4 seconds off of it now, and which makes it interesting for the songs. And sometimes that's when the song works. It's like, oh, that song went right into that song. That's a good element. And for the most part, I thought like the George Strait, the Los Lobos, and the Jim Reeves, they all worked really well together. But we had our miscues here and there. But overall, I thought it was it's fun to listen to during the Christmas time. As an option, not to just flip on a radio station. Now we have three playlists now that we can play during the holiday seasons without really getting, like you can play driving around, you know. So yeah, I think it works.
Yeah, I think it's just whatever mood we're in at the time, we put songs on that we like, and if it works, sometimes it works. And the beauty of a playlist is even though it's an hour and 10 minutes long or whatever it is, we often don't get a chance other than Jose who walks every morning gets to listen to it all the way completely. There's times where I'm only able to listen to two or three or four songs in a row, and then I got to go into work or I got to go do this, and so I don't listen to it in its entirety. Or sometimes we're not in the mood for it, and we might skip around and listen to different songs too, and that's okay. The main thing is that we love music. We love this time of year. Christmas is a wonderful time of year for lots of reasons. And for us, three old friends, we just we like to keep it going, and we're grateful that we can keep playing music, keep putting on some Christmas stuff, and I said at the end of the day, just want to make people happy, maybe, and listen to some cool Christmas music, and maybe something that they hadn't heard before. Like we said from last year, Mike had put on the song by the band, and for whatever reason, This Must Be Christmas, and I'd never heard it for whatever reason, and now it became my favorite Christmas song going forward that I always want to hear, and that's the beauty of it. We can start new traditions and with some of these songs.
Yeah, for me, these really do touch on a lot of things I like about Christmas through music. And what you said exactly about we have now a 40, actually it's more than 45 because this one was 18 songs. So close to 50 songs about the holidays, and really none of them are dogs. We like, we may go, oh, what, but whatever. They're all. It's a good long playlist, and we do look at Christmas lights every year. We drive around, and so you can bet I'll be putting this on. Rachel will be happy about the Sabrina. Is it Sabrina Carpenter? Because she had been lobbying me to put, when I was talking about we're about to do this, she's like, "Oh, put on Nonsense Christmas by Sabrina Carpenter." And it is. She plays that song a lot. She likes that song. And so she doesn't know yet that about this. I'm going to play it for her. But yeah, so wish you guys Merry Christmas, and anybody who may be watching, Happy New Year's and
The holiday.
whatever else you may celebrate. So that's it. We have it's almost probably it may be the last thing to come out, that it will be this year. But coming up, we're going to be looking at artists who we lost in the last year, and there's a ton of them. It's going to be hard to fit them all in, but we're gonna do our best. So if we don't see you guys before then, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.